Hello, everyone. And first off, I do want to say a small apology that I was gone for about a week, and that was because I was sick. The weather here has been crazy dramatic. One day we are in sweats and you're still freezing, and the next day you're in shorts and you're sweating so bad. And usually during those times, my body just freaks out and I get sick. And of course, I got sick. So I do apologize for that. I wasn't fully prepared and I wasn't expecting it, and it just kind of came out from under me. Now, I do have a couple other videos planned, which they are going to be scheduled later on because this also happened around the beginning of the month. And while I was sick, we hit a major milestone. And first, I want to thank you all for that because that is so amazing. I am so excited and so beyond grateful for you all. And that is, we hit 10,000 subs during the week I was sick. And we actually hit it on the 28th of October, so I am a tad bit behind. But as usual, and as I normally do, once we hit these milestones, I make a YouTube play button that is a quilt applique style. Now, I'm not going to show you how to make it. I usually just do voiceovers, thanking you all and talking about something. And today we're actually going to talk a little bit about myself because I've gotten a few emails and comments within the videos of people just asking, like, who are you? What's your name? How did you get in sewing? Just like the basic stuff, which I thought, you know what, that does deserve a video for all of my new subscribers here. Now, because I hit 5,000 subs 2 months ago, no joke, this is why I am so excited because I didn't expect to hit 10,000 within 2 months. I already technically made a October Halloween-ish style YouTube play button, but I still hit 10,000 before Halloween technically. So this play button is going to be a little bit inspired of both Halloween and the holiday de los Metros. And I apologize if I said that a little bit incorrectly. I did grow up in a multicultural town in El Paso, Texas. So we would celebrate both holidays, and it is amazing. And this Tula Pink fabric I thought was perfect, not only for Halloween, but also for the holiday de los Muertos. And I thought it would be perfect for it. So that's where this YouTube play button is being inspired from. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started about talking about myself. And that is, how did I get into sewing? And actually my mom taught me many, many years ago when I was little how to sew. And I would actually help her by cutting either the chain pieces as they came off her sewing machine. I would help her iron. And then later on when I grew older, she even taught me how to sew. Now, fast forward a few years, because nothing drastic really happened during those time as far as sewing. And in 2013 was when I started sewing pretty much almost every day. And that is because at the time, my husband, who at the time was my boyfriend, had an amazing job opportunity about 500 miles away. And he was like, hey, come with me. And I did. And that was actually the first time I ever moved out of the house. And I moved 500-ish miles away. So it was a whole lot. And besides missing, of course, my family and friends, one thing that I was missing was those homey touches because my mom has those quilts that are on top of like the dining table and not like a table runner. Like she would make a quilt across the whole dining table, kind of like a picnic tablecloth, but it was like a quilt that she would use. And she also has them on her kitchen window seals, like the little valances or valances. Might be getting that wrong. Curtains. There we go. And then she has, like, of course, little mini quilts on her end tables, nightstands on the wall, folded up nicely in baskets and blankets, hanging quilts on the wall. They're everywhere. And there's those little missing touches that I missed. So one day when we went to go visit them for either the holidays or something, she gave me her sewing machine and I ran that sewing machine to the ground. No joke. Sadly that was the end of that sewing machine because I was constantly going and sewing and it it really got its best out of me. And because we were young and newly there, and I've mentioned this story a few times before, but when we moved, we were pretty broke. I ended up buying a cheap sewing machine from Walmart, and I used that for many years. And surprisingly, I still have it. It's just in the closet somewhere. And I kind of use that as like my backup sewing machine. Then after a while, I finally talked my husband into getting me a sewing machine, a nice quality one, and a local dealership where I live has Bernina sewing machines, baby locks, etc. And we were just patiently waiting, and finally there was a used sewing machine, and that was a 770 QE, and I talked him into it and we got it. And it was such a great deal at the time, and it was fantastic, and I have been using that machine ever since, and I've had zero problems with it, and it's been amazing. I would highly recommend that machine if you're thinking about getting one. Then once I got that sewing machine, I found out you can long arm quilt your quilts, which I thought was fantastic because I've always had the dream and I have always wanted to be able to finish my quilt from start to finish. And that means from getting the fabric, cutting, piecing your quilt top to actually quilting it yourself instead of sending it to someone. Not that I have anything against that because I do enjoy that and I do highly appreciate that, but I just wanted that, you know, that feeling of I literally made this from start to finish, like till the binding of the quilt. And that is when I found out that I am not that great at, you know, long arm quilting on a domestic sewing machine. And I tried for many years, which brings me to another question that I have gotten. And that is, will I be ever making any videos showing how to quilt on a domestic sewing machine? And at this very moment, the answer is going to be no. But I'm never going to say never because maybe one day it will finally click and I'll get it and I'll be able to do those types of videos for you all. But at least for now and probably the next few years, it's sadly not going to happen because I also bought a Longarm machine, and this is my dream machine, and I am basically in love with it, and it's amazing. And of course, I'm going to use it whenever I can. Now, a little tip, and I'm not bragging here, this is technically my third long arm machine because I've had long arm nightmares. And I will have a link for that video down below that goes into detail of all the issues I've been in. And that is because my original long arm machine that I had, basically it broke and it went downhill fast. And thankfully, I had a warranty, which if you are getting a long arm machine, I highly recommend you get that warranty and maybe an extended warranty if you can, no matter what, because that is the only reason I was able to get my second long arm machine. And sadly, after that, that one eventually went a little bit downhill. It was better quality than my first one, but the second one, it it also wasn't that great. And eventually I just told my husband we kind of need to, bite the bullets, so to speak, on it and suck it up and just I think we should buy an actual professional one. And that went down my rabbit hole of actually searching and buying and looking at way better quality Longarm machines, which I do talk about in that video that I'll have linked down below. But lo and behold, I did end up with a Bernina Q24, and that is also because my Bernina sewing machine has been fantastic and I've had zero issues. So we were like, that has to be the case with the Longarm machines as well. That was kind of one of our plus sells with that. And yeah, and that's how I ended up with the longer machine. And then I started that journey once again all over because it's like a new machine and I had to relearn everything all over again. And I now can also custom quilt, which you all are seeing my journey as well. And now for the last question that I have gotten asked quite a few times, and that is, how come I never show my face? Now, if you really want to know what I look like, my face is actually in the videos and it's in the reflection of the rulers. Now, it's not the greatest face because it's my concentrating, make sure I have the numbers correct, and I'm also looking down, so it's not that pleasant looking. But my face is there in the videos. But no, I do understand what you all are saying because I have gotten some few comments of you're like, oh, why don't you talk like face on in the video so it's more personable? And I get it. I totally get it. And actually, I wish I could. 100%. I wish I could. And sadly, I can't. And that is because I live right next door to an Air Force military training base. So that means they are flying airplanes just about every single day. Now, to some people, that would be really annoying, but we are big airplane people. My husband is a huge airplane fanatic. He works with the military for airplanes. He's not a military, he's not in the military. He is a civilian who works for the military, but he works with military airplanes. That's a mouthful, but anyways, he does work with military airplanes and he loves the airplane. So we're used to it and we don't mind it. But because I sew throughout the day and I don't sew at night because I'm a morning person and at night I get tired and I refuse to sew while I am tired just because of safety issues. But I'm a morning person, so I am sewing throughout the day and quilting all throughout the day, and that is when the military are practicing, of course, flying the airplanes. And we have a many variety of airplanes with like props, standard ones, fighter jets, so it can get very loud where we are. And we do not have the equipment to record my face and talk straight into the camera without you hearing the airplanes from behind. So what I do is I record everything face down throughout the day with no audio, and then whenever I can, which is usually either early mornings or in the afternoons, I do the voice recorder. I do the voice recording afterwards when the military is, of course, not flying. Now, how close we are to that military base is super close. We are parallel with the runway, and when they land, you can hear the planes land on the runway. And we are so close that you can hear them play taps early morning and in the afternoons. And you can hear the song pretty much clear as day. So that's how close we are, and that's how loud they get. Plus, of course, where our house is a direct flight path above us as well. So we basically have an air show every day in our backyard, which we enjoy it. But for YouTube content, it's not the greatest to record throughout the day. So we kind of do what we can. Now, but yeah, I do hope you have enjoyed this little video and me just talking and rambling on about myself. Once again, thank you so much for 10,000 subs. Our next milestone will be at 25,000. And I'm going to give us a year because we basically need to double and then some. So I'm going to give us a year, and I'm pretty sure we can do it. I have faith in you all, and I know you all can do that. And of course, I know I can do that too. And until then, I will see you all next time.